So in the previous lecture we saw that till Second World War, cryptography was more or less an extension of substitution cipher, or basically it was based on Wigner charts, or it was an extended Wigner cipher with mechanical motors with electrical system, which was converted into a telegraph. And this is what was called as Enigma machine by Germany. So this is what all cryptography was till Second World War. But soon after Second World War, the world started changing very quickly, and from electrical domain, with the invention of vacuum tubes and various other technologies, gradually we started moving towards an electronic era. So in electronics means the voltage levels are less than 5 volt, and in that electronics, from analog electronics, gradually we move to the digital electronics or digital era, where the entire signal was sent in the form of ones and zeros. So there is a high voltage and a zero voltage or a low voltage, so that indicates 1 and 0. So cryptography in the digital era. So now in this particular lecture we'll be learning the cryptography in the digital era. So in the digital era cryptography, or 1-0 based cryptography, is basically of two main types. One is called as block ciphers, another is called as stream ciphers. In block ciphers, what we have is the entire plain text, basically that is our information, is basically what is called as ASCII, is basically nothing but in binary. It is just any information can be represented in binary. So plain text is basically our information, which is basically converted into the binary format, and that entire block of plain text is converted into a cipher text with the help of a key. So the entire block of information, that means that entire block is converted into a cipher text in one go. Whereas the other kind of digital cipher is stream cipher, where plain text is also in form of bits, ones and zeros, and the key is also in bits, and they are encrypted bit by bit, one by one. So first bit of the plain text and the first bit of the key is encrypted, and then corresponding cipher text is generated, and so on till all the characters are encrypted. So this kind of cryptography is called as stream cipher. So we have two different kinds of cryptography: block cipher, where entire information which is in the binary is converted into a corresponding cipher text in one go, in a single go. Whereas in stream cipher, it is converted bit by bit. So famous examples of block cipher is, like, the earliest was DES, or data encryption standard. Then it was improved and it became 3DS or triple DS, what we call as. So the key length was tripled, and finally the NIST conducted an event for finding out, for as a competition, they wanted something better than DES or 3DS, and then a technology came which was called as AES, or advanced encryption standard. This is the latest cryptographic standard, and it is considered quite strong for the present day systems. And and the examples of stream ciphers are like RC4, and even a simple XOR is basically a kind of stream cipher. So bit by bit, the information is XORed. XOR means basically 1 XOR 1 is 0, 0 XOR 1 is 1. So XOR is that kind of binary operation where two inputs are same, then it is 0. If two inputs are different, it is 1. So these are different types of cryptographic systems that we have. So RC4 and XOR, these kind of cryptographic systems were earlier used in our wireless communications until recently. WPA2 initial version, wireless protected access, earlier versions used to have RC4 based stream ciphers, but they are quite easy to break, and that's why these days most of the systems have moved to AES, which is a block cipher. So if we see inside the block cipher, technically all the block ciphers are of two main types. One is called as fictional structure, where for encryption, the entire block of the information, the block of ones and zeros, is broken into two parts, left and right, and then there is a function which operates on the left, and then there is a function which operates on the right, and they interchangeably keep happening, and finally we get the cipher text. For converting it back, the same process is repeated, but in the reverse fashion, and that's how the decryption is done. So this is what DES uses, whereas AES is somewhat more complicated. It uses substitution permutation network, and here also basically we use S boxes and T boxes, and That's how basically we do substitution and permutation of the bits at every round. So this every f here coming is called as one round. So this is one round, second round, third round, and finally the nth round. So here also we do rounds, and at different rounds we get different outputs, and they are again substituted and permuted so that we get output which is very difficult to break. So this is what encryption algorithms are of types. So these things are beyond the scope of steganography, and that's why there are very good courses on cryptography where you can learn this, or even if there is a demand, I can put this course if the demand is there. But as far as steganography is concerned, these things are beyond the scope, so we will not discuss much in detail about all these things. But something very important to know even from steganographic angle is that even from a steganographic angle we have to know these four properties of a cryptographic system. First of all, the ciphertext which is generated in the cryptographic system, that means the plain text that we enter, the original information, and the ciphertext that we get. So ciphertext should be absolutely random. So that's what the first point is, that ciphertext should be absolutely random. That means from the ciphertext, the attacker should not be able to make out what plain text is or what key is. By not able to make out, we mean absolutely nothing, not even any pattern or any common occurrence. Like even the probability of guessing plain text from the ciphertext should be absolutely zero. So that is what is basically absolutely random. It means that means the plain text or the information is in a particular pattern, but moment it gets converted into ciphertext, it becomes absolutely random. There is absolutely no pattern in the ciphertext. So that is what the first property is. Second property is confusion. That means ciphertext should be function of all the bits of the key. So basically ciphertext should not be function of all the bits of the key. So basically what happens is, by confusion we mean the key. That means that the key should not, from the key the ciphertext should not be so basically it simply means that if the key is changed by even a minor amount, the password is changed even by one character or one even single bit, the ciphertext should change totally. So that is what the confusion is. By diffusion we mean the relationship between the ciphertext and the plain text should be absolutely random. That means ciphertext and plain text should not be dependent upon each other. So from the plain text the ciphertext should not be guessable, and from ciphertext the plain text should not be guessable. And finally the last property is avalanche effect. That means even a minor change is done in the input or the plain text, the ciphertext should change by a very large amount. So among all these properties, the first property of being absolutely random is quite useful from the steganographic perspective, because the information is having a pattern. So if that patterned information is embedded inside or hidden in the steganography, we hide the information. So if the information has a pattern and it is hidden, then that pattern can be guessed. But if the information is encrypted, so it becomes absolutely random, and then if it is hidden, guessing of the patterns become very difficult. This will be more clear in the next lecture when we will be studying steganography in detail, next to next section basically. But for now you have to know that when we do encryption, the plain text becomes ciphertext, and ciphertext is absolutely random. So this is what you have to know about cryptography. So now from operational point of view, the modern day cryptography is of two types. One is symmetric key cryptography, where the encryption and decryption both uses the same key. So with the password with which we have encrypted the information, with the same password we will be decrypting the information. So once we have encrypted the information with the particular password, the plain text becomes gibberish or not understandable, or what we call a ciphertext. That ciphertext is transmitted through an insecure channel. So if the attacker even comes to know about the ciphertext, he is not able to guess anything about the plain text. While on the receiving end, what happens is the receiver has the same password which the transmitter had or the sender had. So with that same password, he decrypts the ciphertext and gets back the plain text. So this kind of cryptography is called as symmetric key cryptography. And there is another kind of cryptography where the encryption and decryption passwords are different, and we will see in detail why it is so, why we need this, and what are the demerits of symmetric key cryptography, and why we have come across the asymmetric key cryptography concept. And for now you have to remember that assume this line as line of symmetry, and these are the two different passwords, and the two passwords are different. That's why we call this as asymmetric key cryptography. This is just a memory mnemonic, so you can remember that this is the line of the symmetry and the two passwords are different. So that's why we call this as asymmetric key cryptography. Whereas in symmetric key cryptography, the two passwords are same. So the line across the line of symmetry, the two passwords are same in case of symmetric key cryptography. So that's why we call it symmetric key cryptography. This is a memory mnemonic, you can remember. And similarly, absolutely random, you can remember that confusion word k means key also. So remember, confusion is the property of a key. That means the ciphertext from the ciphertext should not be dependent on the key, or it hides the relationship between the ciphertext and the key, or there should not be any visible relationship between the ciphertext and the key. And diffusion is the relationship between the ciphertext and the plain text, that should be hidden. And the avalanche effect is that any minor change should produce a massive change in the ciphertext. So any minor change in the plain text, which is the input, should produce a massive or significant amount of change in the plain text. So these are the four properties of cryptography, and this is and these are the two different types of cryptography from the operational point of view. In the next lecture, we will see why we need asymmetric key cryptography, or rather we see what are the major limitations of the symmetric key cryptography, because of which we need for the asymmetric key cryptography came up. So see you in the next lecture.